This is my driveway, and although it is good for riding a skateboard, it doesn't work very good for lifting up a car on it. You see, my driveway sits on a slope, and just like many Americans all across the United States, your driveway might sit on a slope just like this. But I think I have found a solution. I have built a set of cribs that are the most overbuilt, most obnoxious looking cribs you would ever see in the internet. So yes, of course I could use a jack stand, and once you start to raise it up, you can see it sits in a slant. I have solved this problem before by using something else. So sometimes I use this piece of wood and it straightens it out and it makes it level. And yes, this works, but it makes me very nervous. And I don't know about you guys, I feel very nervous when I have a 3,000-pound vehicle sitting over my head and I have to pull the transmission. And that's exactly what I have to do right now. I have to do an emergency transmission drop for this G35 because we have to replace the clutch. The clutch has completely gave out and I have to do it right here in the driveway. Let me show you why. So right behind me, I have our Project Miata and we're getting ready to put the turbo, but we have it up on jack stands right now as we speak, as I'm filming this video, and this space is occupied, but I have to drop the transmission on that. So that's why we come to these babies. I have built, like I said before, the most overbuilt cribs on the internet probably. I have constructed them with 2x4s and 2x6s in the center, and I have my reasons for that, and I'm about to show you exactly what those reasons are. Yeah, these babies are heavy. So these things, when they're on flat land, when they're on level ground, like in the garage, I wouldn't worry so much about reinforcing the center like this, like I have. I did some research, and a 2x4 with a 2 feet span is able to hold 1,000 pounds. And if you divide the weight of this car, it's probably roughly around 1,000 pounds. So with 2x4s, you'd be able to do exactly that. But since this car is going to be sitting on a slope in my driveway, I came up with a solution. So I have seen so many designs on the internet on these, and I did my share of research. I searched all over the web and I looked at some YouTube videos, and there's guys constructing these at a 2x4, and there's some demonstrating how much weight they can hold without the center supports that I have installed, and they hold a ton of weight. I am not arguing with that, but everyone is using these inside a garage or a flat surface. Since I'm going to be using a slope, I wanted to beef it up because the weight won't be sitting right here. It's going to be in a diagonal force. So when I put the 2x6s here, I wanted to make sure to transfer all that weight down to the floor and not to put any stress on the 2x4s itself. I wanted it just to get transferred down. That's why I have gone with such a beefy and overbuilt system like this. But let me show you what makes it so unique. So basically what I'm trying to say is you could use these cribs to raise the car up inside a flat surface or on top of a flat surface, or you could use these cribs to raise up your car on a slope. And let me show you how that works. So right here I have bolts, and that removes the upper part. And just like this, you're able to adjust and remove the upper side. And let me show you. Man, these are heavy. So the setup basically works like this. I am able to put these that are stacked lower than the ones in the rear, and since it sits on a slope, this car will be level up. And this makes it ideal to drop the transmission and not run into any complications. And I think that a system like this might serve you good in your garage only if you're brave enough to build it, because these are heavy. Let's find out how heavy they are. So I brought out a scale. Let's see how much I weigh. Let's see if this works. All right, 157. That's what clothes on. All right, let's see how much this big guy weighs 66 pounds. So 66 pounds is not that much, okay? So if you're willing to build a system like this, you're gonna need to be able to drag and pick up 66 pounds, about probably 70, depending on what type of wood you use. And the beautiful thing about these is when you're getting ready to use them inside, basically you just grab the piece and you stack it back on. So just like that, I have reattached them and they're ready to be used on a flat surface. So I started by just measuring the width of the wheel and trying to figure out what was going to be the perfect length for me to cut all these 2x4s. And I also set up a stopper. I could run the 2x4 all the way down to the stopper where you see the L bracket that I screwed to the 4x4, and I could continue to cut without having to measure over and over again. It made this process go a lot faster than it would have if I was to measure every piece individually. This is something I would recommend you doing if you decide to tackle a project like this. So right here, you could just see me trying to get a rough estimate of how many blocks I was going to need for the front versus the back. And a woodworking job is never complete without some sanding, and man, did I do some sanding. And of course, with the belt sander, it made the job a lot easier. If I was sanding all these by hands, man, I would still be constructing these. So I went down to Harbor Freight and I purchased their cheapest spray gun that they have, and it's a $16 one, and that's because I'm going to be using oil-based paint, and yes, I'm thinning it out so I can spray it, and it works very well. With the oil-based, I don't have a specific ratio. Basically, I just thin it out until I could visually see it thin enough so I could spray it through the gun, and that's just through some trial and error. So the store that I picked up the paint, they did not have green, so I decided to just use some blue and yellow and make my own green. And I was aiming for a lime green look, and I don't know how close I got. It looks a little bit of like lime green, or it just looks like regular green, but I did the best I could and I just mixed it myself and it turned out okay. The brand of paint was Rust-Oleum, and I used paint thinner. I have discovered that spraying oil-based paint gives you a couple of benefits. One is that the paint doesn't take as long to dry since it's thinned out, and since you're using a spray gun versus a roller or a paintbrush to lay down the paint seems to cover a lot better and you need less of it to get a job done. Once I let the paint sit for 24 hours, it was time to assemble everything, and I'm just using regular decking screws just to screw everything together. And you could get as picky as you want with this. You could bring out a square, or you could just eyeball it. At first, you could see me, I used the square to start the first set, and then I started just placing them on top of each other and just aligning them, making sure they looked visually correct. Every once in a while, I would bring out a straight edge and make sure that the woods were lining up. So 2 sets of these are adjustable and the other 2 are fixed in place. And here you can see me speaking with Giovanni. He was trying to convince me to buy an NSX. He says that that should be my next project vehicle. See me drilling out each corner where the bolts are going to be used so I can bolt the upper half of the system. This is for the adjustable side.
yes, I know I need a welding table, but this is gonna have to do for now. Basically, I was using a 2x4 with a hole drilled in the center, and I was using it as a jig, and I was getting these washers and welding the nuts to them. And even though this worked, it was completely inefficient because I kept having to stop and wet the wood because it was basically catching on fire. And it got the job done, but next time I think I'm gonna have a welding table set up so I could get something like this done quicker. So those nuts and washers that I welded together get sandwiched in between the wood, and that's what lets this system work. Basically, the upper half is already constructed and the lower half is as well, and you remove the upper part to make it adjustable. And here you can see me trying out the system and just trying to figure out if it really does work or not. I did spray a little bit of lube in the beginning to get it going, but then afterwards everything just slipped into place. It did take a couple of days to construct, and that's because there were so many different steps, but it was definitely well worth it because I get to show you now how they work.
So now that I created all this clearance, let me show you what's underneath here. The cribs are working very well, and on this driveway, since it's on a slope, I keep wanting to drift backwards. And this is the guy that I'm gonna be filming. And since now we have more height, I'm gonna be able to stick my camera back here and show you the whole process, everything. All right guys, we're back with another video, and today we're gonna be tackling installing a clutch on a G35. So in a lot of my clutch videos, you would hear me speak about this. So these clutches, these flywheels come with a dual mass flywheel. Now watch this, look how much movement. I don't know if you can see it. There's a lot of separation there. There's a lot of movement, and that's because the flywheel itself is two pieces. So there you guys have it, a safe way in how to raise up your car in a slope, and you could build it all yourself. And like always guys, I always ask you, if this video was valuable to you, if it brought value to your life, give it a thumbs up so somebody else could find it in the algorithm. And like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I have this project, the Project Miata, that we're installing a turbo, and I have the oil pan right here on the floor, and I actually purchased some new tools to help do this whole job. There is so many different videos that I'm getting ready to post on the channel, so you might want to stick around so you could check those out. So subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.